So today finds us trying to get out to that boat, and as you could see, it was floating. So I can't walk on water, so I'm going out in a kayak. The problem is that I'm going out at a time when there is very little water in the river at all, and so I've got to get the kayak to the water, which involves a bit of mountaineering, a bit of trekking through the mud. But you know, people that think that fishing from a boat is easy, in many ways it's just as difficult as pulling all your gear across shingle. Um, so I've got to get the boat once I've picked it up back in over that bar there, and the tide's coming in. It may look like it's going out, but it's actually coming in. Um, but if I time it right, there'll be just enough water. So I'm off in my kayak, paddling upriver. It's quite a long way, but it's a fairly mild day, so I'm not expecting too many problems. The only thing is, have I got the tide right? When I get there, will there be enough water to float the boat or not? And as you can see, there isn't quite enough water. It comes in quite quickly here, so I would imagine that in another 10 or 15 minutes, although it may not look like it, the boat will be floating and we will be off fishing. At least that's the plan. So my plan is to use an Urfe rig, and as you can see, it's got a like a fixed piece there, and then you've got a long leader coming off it. And what I've done is I've tied on some snoods. So I've got one near the bottom, which quite often you find is the one that can catch fish. And then further up at the end, we've got another hook. So that's about 8 foot, I would say, roughly 8 foot in length. Just rebaited the Urfe. And one greedy little bass. Oh fella, on the bottom hook of the Urfe rig. So let's rebait, as the carpenter said. Well, it's starting to rain again. It's clouded over big time. We're just off Waldringfield and we are waiting for the bass to turn up. I just hope they haven't got fed up waiting for us. Oh, oh, oh.
Even a fish?
Haven't got the drogue, have you?
I don't think so.
Big crab?
I'm not sure what it is. Big fish?
No way.
Yeah. It's a decent fish. Might have foul hooked him. That will do nicely. That's a good one.
Indeed.
Foul hooked in the belly.
why we're out here fishing.
So the fish moved, and so we had to move as well. And I find that on the river, it's often best to keep moving. And so we headed down river towards Waldringfield and the Maybush. We weren't going to stop at the Maybush. We were going to go further on towards the rocks, which is just before you get to Ramsholt. The weather was getting a bit rough. Nothing to worry about. We got loads of bait, loads of ragworm. The Urfe rig was performing well. We were using 2 hooks, flappers and 3 hook flappers, just changing the rigs and moving on just when we felt that things had got a bit slack. And so we continued for the next few hours, and as you will see.
That's good. Whee, that's a very good.
That's Urfe rig, not you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Missing bites.
So that's the Urfe rig, the bottom hook. Urfe. Nice. Nothing to see here. So we're both using 2 rods. I'm using ugly sticks, 12 to 20 pounds, and I find that they're ideal boat rods. We've got the drogue out at the back, which is stopping the boat swinging around at the stern, which is great. Stuart's got 2 rods out with 2 hook flappers on, and he's has to be said catching a lot of small fish and missing quite a lot. They're coming off the hook. But we're eating and drinking and chatting away to ourselves and generally having a good time, which is what it's all about. Pardon? Go big on the rag. Well, even though the wind's getting up, this road is holding us nice and steady. So on the quest for constantly changing rigs, I've gone for a one hook flapper now. So as you can see, a couple of beads, two small ragworm hooked through the head, and then a yellow weight at the bottom. And yeah, sometimes two small ragworm work well, and so off we go. We're going to cast it out. Stuart again is winding like he's match fishing. Has he got a fish this time? Let's see. So we've moved again. We're down at the rocks in about 30 feet of water, coming up towards high tide, and we're hoping for some bass here. It's quite a popular spot, hence the barbecues and music, a bit like Ibiza, but we'll try and ignore that and see if we can catch a fish or two. crabs. That's how you should do it, yeah. That's right. Not really. Look at that.
Looks like a bite to me.
Yeah, or weed.
Might be too regular for a bite.
There's weed. We may have picked the wrong place to be at this state of the tide.
Weed.
Yeah. I don't think this is the place to be, Stuart.
Didn't produce any fish yet.
You're missing from winding in like a lunatic. Oh.
I don't know what's going on. I'm under the crisis of conscience.
Have you got your bait?
He says. Yeah, he's going to do this. But it's not. It's the usual standard. Oh, sorry. Standard little rat.
At least you've got it in the mouth rather than in the belly.
Yeah. To do it once is quite odd. Do it for like
At this point I decided that I needed to change rigs again, so I went from a one hook flapper. I rummaged around in my tackle box, which is always quite tricky because they're all wound up and you think, what is that? Anyway, I ended up getting out a 3-hook flapper because we'd got quite a lot of bait left. And 3-hook I flapper? thought I will go large on the bait go large on the hooks, and that's what I did.
Look at that. That's definitely a bite, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Mate,
was wondering how you're doing it, because
look at that, it's what it's about.
oh, what's that?
Spat it out.
Sand eel, is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it ended pretty much. But I just want to remind you about the Urfe rig, which for me was the rig that was catching the big fish, either on the hook nearest the weight or on the end hook. It really is a cracking little rig. It's not for every situation. I mean, you'd use it from a beach very sparingly if the wind was in the right direction and the tide was in the right direction. But I hope you enjoyed the video.